doing all that. We just couldn't post it online.
Yeah.
I don't even think I had the foresight to do that because it was around.
No, we did. All right, but we about ready to rock and roll, guys. You ready?
Keep saying the program now.
Welcome to another episode of Above Average Black Men. Very special guest tonight. Excited, man. We've been trying to get you on this show the longest time, man. But we got myself, Chris Pender Sr.
Chris Jr., again, Above Average Black Man, where we're here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community.
Devin Pender here to remind you to like, follow, subscribe, share, and comment. And definitely spread the word, spread the message to your friends and family.
Yes.
Why are you ready to go, man? So you can go first.
I am, man. I'm excited because this is high school moderator here, Cheltenham High School coach. And again, I mentioned this before we got on that, I kind of been following the program from afar and seeing a lot of the things that you do. And it's kind of near and dear, I would say, to all of us, being that we're sports guys. Also, I would say involved in the community. And for us, it was certainly bigger than sports. So I know the same for you. It's not just about, the X's and O's of it. It's more about kind of helping these young men, our boys, become young men, actually. So wanted to definitely have you on the show and kind of learn a little bit more about you and kind of how you got started with, coaching football in general. Is that something that you kind of played or did at some type of level?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. It's an honor to be here. I played football in high school. And in my senior year in high school, I actually broke my leg. And from that, I transitioned and was in the military. Okay. But when I came home, I'm a Philly firefighter. I'm the deputy chief of the Philly Fire Department. Been doing that for almost 25 years. And I see what's going on in the streets. So got my hand involved early. Football for the last 20-something years and got my hand early into coaching football. Was one of the founders of Tech football, who's now Powerhouse. Me and a couple other fighters, we went there on an emergency run one day, and we was talking to them, and we was like, "You got some big kids in here. You ought to start a football." And Mama Chris, who's the founder of Tech, actually said, "If you guys start it, you'll finish it." And we started it, and look at them now. They're a powerhouse, nationally renowned, several NFL players.
Wow.
Then from there, at my church, I'm a minister at Elon, and at my church, me and Coach Swift, Coach Crab, Coach Brown, Mike Brown, our pastor said he wanted to start a football program. So we went into the office one day and kicked it off, and Coach Crab of it. And look at it now, we got almost 6 NFL players out of that in the Elon program alone. One of them was a grad, played at Cheltenham and went to Temple. I forgot his name. And he's an NFL player now. I think he's on a practice squad on one of these teams.
Okay.
But I use the ministry. I use football as a ministry to mentor young men, to motivate them, to push them beyond their expectations, and to just use the art, the mathematics, and the adversity of football to build character, to build, to hold them accountable to academics, and then to hold them accountable to moving on to do greater things in their community and coming back and giving back to the community. So football is not really a sport to me; it's a ministry. And God has just blessed me to touch a lot of young men throughout these years.
Well, you know what I like about it is, and I titled this show "The Making of Men." The day's been that kind of day that built up to the show. I was watching this interview with Michael Vick, and one of the things he talked about was how, because he was such a good athlete, there wasn't a lot of people correcting him.
Yeah, or holding people accountable.
You know,
right?
there wasn't a lot of people, talking about integrity and character and doing the right thing. He said he had some friends and they were good friends. The problem with his friends was he said they were a little afraid to push him too far.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you see that? Like I was about to say, that's something Devin and I watched that Kanye West documentary, and there was a lot of that there.
A lot
Like,
of yes men.
Yeah, just yes men going along because they know or they see the potential, and
Right.
they don't want to get cut or axed out of the circle.
So
Yeah.
And I've heard, and that's what attracted me to you, because I've heard how you not only teach them football and academics, but you help them become men. You help them mature.
Right.
was
Right.
that-
I got an excellent coaching staff, and we do a lot of character building things and conflict resolutions. And of course, there is some things that you expect young men who are growing into their manhood to push the limit a lot, to cross the line. I mean, that's an expectation. Do you hinder that? No. Do you try to prevent them from speaking their minds? No. You try to have them channel that emotions into the right place so that you can respond and respond correctly and not react correctly. Reaction is immediate, and that's it. All these young men in the grave and in jails because they react. Response is a thought process. You're thinking it out. Okay, all right. I see the adversity. Let me sit back, evaluate it, and then respond. And that's what we're trying to teach them. But and of course, it's rough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because you got a lot of young brothers as going through a lot of things at home that's went through things in life that are traumatized from what's going on in our community. And that emotion of being a traumatized teenager in this day and age triggers a lot of other things and emotions that you as a coach got to know how to balance and not say this is this kid, that's all he is, or is he just reacting to the trauma. So you got to be careful with that. And sometimes we as coaches get a bad rep because they'll say, well, that kid said that and you let him go. Well, you don't know the background of that kid. You don't know what he went through. You don't know that he's just lashing out because he never had a black man tell him, I love you. And he don't know how to respond to that. So his automatic reaction is to push away and to get out of my face. Oh, yeah, okay. But then you show them and then they eventually come around. So it's a process that I love dearly, and I wish there would be more people who can get involved and could critique it. They can get involved and see what it's really here for.
Yeah.
I was just curious and wondering, back in the day, how'd you first, fall in love with the game of football? And did you always see yourself coaching, later down the road? Like, was this always a part of the plan for you?
Yeah. I absolutely love and adore football. I love the life principles that football can teach, the character building principles that football can help a young man gather. There's a whole lot of life building skills in the sport of football. But like I said, I played football in high school, and I am a geek for football. I mean, an absolute geek. More on not just the X's and O's, but just on how to be a good coach. How to, one of the hardest things is coaching the coaches that coach for me and being a leader to them. When you got all those alpha females. I mean, my 2 D-line coaches are female, and they don't take no jump. I think I'm the only coach, only one that got 2 black women on his staff.
Oh, that's big.
And right now we probably got 3 Division I deepest linemen, and they don't take no mess. And Trump, the balanced staff, so I study that. I just study the philosophy of coaching, and then the X and O's intrigues me also. It's a chess match. battling that other coach that's that watched all our film and we watched all that film, and now we're sitting at this chessboard and we're competing against each other, and also trying to make sure that all my student athletes get the opportunity to participate in this war that we go on with this other team. It's all that strategy all blends into one big melting pot of just ministry.
Right. So you spoke to kind of when you walked into Imhotep and you saw those
You guys
kids,
freeze.
and I don't believe I.
I think you guys froze.
Oh,
Yeah, we good. We can hear you
I
though.
can
Just
hear
keep
you.
going. Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, just keep
Can
going.
you, well, like I was saying, when you walked into Imhotep, you noticed and saw like those
Okay, cool.
big guys.
Yeah, I
and-
can hear you guys.
Awesome. And like you just knew right away, like, oh, these guys need to be playing football. We kind of again spoke before the cameras came on and mentioned a reference how some coaches get into it for the wrong reasons. Like, they see kids and they're just like, oh, this is my opportunity to almost raise this pro athlete and like get some kind of notoriety for themselves. Can you kind of talk to, like, was that always your approach coming in? Like, I know I'm coming in here to be a mentor, or was that something that like you encountered or saw something along the way where, you knew you had to do something bigger or beyond just X's and O's of football? Might have dropped. Did we drop?
Yeah, I think because he's on there. So just keep going.
No, I mean, I don't know if we
Well, I mean, yeah,
we
but-
dropped online.
Yeah, but we can just
Online, yeah. So I mean, we just lost connection here. I know we're
Yeah.
still kind of on Podbean, but hopefully this is a restart
Yeah, it's coming
here
back,
on all
yeah.
the other networks that we're on here.
that's the problem.
But again, some of the questions that we were kind of asking, discussing here were related to the football and mentorship and like how it's not even just football. Honestly, all types of sports kind of do this as well. But how do you decide, what's the appropriate amount of like, I want to win this game, and what's the appropriate amount of, I'm here to, life lessons.
Well, one of the things that kind of drew my attention to him was I've had several conversations with other coaches, and there was another coach who preached, this is the only way these kids are going to go to college. And that used to drive me crazy because all those kids weren't going to college. That's the realization of your whole team is not going to college.
Right.
And I think you do a kid a disservice when you say, this is the only way you're going to college. And my question always was, would you say that if you were coaching a Caucasian team? If you were coaching a white team, would you tell them the same thing? This is the only way you're going to college.
Probably not.
And when I heard that he was actually investing in these guys, and I hope he comes back. I didn't get a chance to talk to him because one of the moms who coached, their son is actually pretty good, who coaches defensive line. He brought it up. I was going to go there because somebody told me, like, he has ladies on his staff. And I don't know everything, but for high school, for me, that's kind of unheard of. The NFL just got there.
I was about to say, like,
the NFL, and I don't think they have position coaches.
I mean, I think I might have seen one for linebackers before. Don't quote me on that, but like, it is, I think, rare that you may see that at the high school level.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting by sport because, like, for instance, like when I played football, I never really saw a female coach, but when I played volleyball, there was a female coach there.
Yeah.
Basketball,
It's not
as much, but I think they're getting there. But I feel like it also does depend by sport, but it's still cool. By the way, I would love to actually go to a game next year to see this.
So I mean, I don't know if we can get him back on.
I just don't. That's the good thing about technology. You can text. While we were talking, I was texting him, and I'm cutting across these other cameras, so that's not good.
That's all right. I think one thing that you mentioned in reference that was important is that not all kids that play sports are going to get scholarships. Not every kid, that has the thought that they're going to make it to the league, that's not going to be in the cards for you. But, from sports, like you said, you can learn character, life skills, meet people, build or form like long-lasting relationships that potentially benefit you longer down the line. So that's why it's important to have that kind of.
Can you hear us, Coach? We had a technical difficulty. Can you hear us? Because I heard you in the background.
It's like going in and out.
Yeah.
It looks like he's
Well,
back.
let's keep going. Yeah.
I hear you guys, but I can't see you guys.
All right, we got you. We got VCU, so let's just keep going. You want to hit your question again, man?
Yes. So the question.
I can see you now.
Yeah.
Perfect. So my question before we kind of
You good?
we're good. We're good. So my question before we kind of got disconnected was kind of related to your start at Imhotep, and just wanting to know, did you always come in there with the mindset of I'm doing this to be a mentor to young men, or was it just I'm trying to win football games? I've seen some big kids here. Because I think sometimes in today's culture, like some coaches just get caught up in the wins of it all. So just wanted to kind of hear, where did you start in your journey, or did you kind of see something that was like, I need to be more than just X and O's here? It's a major delay.
Yeah, I don't know. So
I'm sure.
I mean, if I was doing, can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Mhm.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
If I'm brutally honest, I would actually say both. I am super competitive, and so I want to win.
Right.
So
Mhm.
that mindset of that mindset of competition and all that, that drives me.
Mhm.
But also, as I stated, being on the Philadelphia Fire Department, we see a lot of the what goes on in our communities, and we the brothers that helped start the Imhotep program, we was coaching basketball, we was doing baseball with youth, and then football. That fell in my lap because I was a football geek.
Okay.
So then we just took off running with it and passed the baton to some brothers that's there now, that's on the same mindset that they are there to help young men fight the streets and get better lives using the art of football to get their lives in order. But they also are super competitive.
Right.
They are also trying to win championships in that nature. So I think the motivation is to help young black men advance and get to the next level. But the energy and the drive, that pushes that God uses to push us to wake up every day to do it, to do everything we got to do. You got to have that competitive spirit, or you'll get wore down. So it's a two-way street type. I haven't really met any coaches in the Philly area that does it just for
the wins of it,
lights and whistles.
Yeah.
Every coach that I associated with in the city has genuine love for a coach, and that genuine love is on the side of pushing that young man to be their very best. You can't coach not the kids you coach. It's impossible.
Right.
It's impossible.
But one thing that we talked about was I had heard about the young ladies you had coaching.
Okay.
Somebody said, look, hey, he actually has females on his staff, and one of their sons is really, really good. So it's funny. It's funny that you brought that up because we were talking when we were having the technical difficulties. The NFL is just getting there, and and to my knowledge, they're not position coaches. They do have women on the sideline. So how did you decide that was even something you wanted to do?
It's not people make it into a big thing, but Coach Star White, she's the owner of the Philadelphia Phantoms.
No.
Philadelphia Phantoms is an all-female football team,
right?
Full equipment, and they play full equipment. They play a national schedule in the spring.
Man.
Full equipment, 11 on 11. And she's the owner of the Philadelphia Phantoms. And right before COVID, she hired me to be their head coach of the Philadelphia Phantoms. But then COVID hit and the season got canceled. So when I came on to Cheltenham, I known her from, from the Philadelphia Phantoms and seeing how she was coaching them. It was easy. She knows football. She knows how to coach, and she knows how to motivate. So that's all I needed. And then she brought on Tasha, whose brother is an NBA player. I forgot his name, Gilchrist. Gilchrist's sister. I don't know Gilchrist, but I know his last name is Gilchrist.
Okay.
Yeah, his sister. We brought her on, and the most productive unit that I had this year was my defensive line. I mean, it was flying all around them. That's because these two sisters had them out working every day in the summer, mostly all in the spring, in that hot sun every day working. And you can't ask for nothing better than that. Can't.
But Coach, it is a big deal. I mean, I know you say it's no big deal. It's a big deal in the sense that it's uncommon. It's a big deal that, and I'll say a lot of guys, their ego will not allow that to happen because that a lot of guys will be pressed because of ego.
Yeah. That's why it's like it's a big deal, but it shouldn't be a big deal if they qualified. Then you know what I mean. Like they the ones that can get it done. And I think we kind of had to change or shift the mindset. But it is, like you said, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
But it speaks volumes to the kids that you're humble enough to do that.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, it shouldn't be a big deal, but it is because a lot of guys, because of ego, especially when you just said it was the most productive unit you had, and football is not right, but it's synonymous with men. Most people think football, they think men. So I think in that sense, it's let me not say a big deal. It's a landmark.
Yeah,
it's a landmark thing, man. It's a historical thing that you're doing.
Because I was just thinking for myself, I know they know more than me, so I'm unqualified.
So, but because I do want to talk about that though.
Amen.
How did your players receive that? How did your players receive when you first introduced these ladies as a coach? Were they? I mean, how?
I mean, one the captain of our team and the prime king is her son. He's the one that got all the offers, so he ain't gonna let nobody prime. But I'm telling you, I'm telling you, they're not gonna let nobody check them. It was. I'll put it this way: when those players saw the energy that they coached at and the level of intensity that they gave those players, and the fact that they studied their position and knew what they was talking about. Because I tell all my coaches, don't coach what you know, coach what you study. And they studied that position and knew what they was talking about. Those guys couldn't do nothing but fall right on in. And they would go to war for them. And we rotated almost, I want to say 8 defensive linemen a game. And they had them young men running in and out, running in and out. And I would like take a kid out and have her yell at me, but it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it sounds like
it's a beautiful thing because they and it would get more recognition, and I hate to say this, but it would get more recognition if they were Caucasian.
I know. Yeah.
It would get more limelight, but in this world of being diverse and things of that nature, I think it was good for our football players, and it's also good for the development of those men.
Correct.
That now that those young men that we coach, that they don't see women in just one particular area of a box. Yeah. And you learn to appreciate them and treat them better.
And it's good for our young ladies because now they can see this different side.
They're enjoying it now, man.
Yeah, it's good for our young ladies because now young ladies can think outside the box.
Yeah, now.
And not, Go ahead.
Yup. It's the first year that Cheltenham will be having an all-female flag football team. And she the head coach. So it's I like to say that it's a title. It's like a drop in the water, and the ripple effect is affecting other kids. When it's affecting other kids, it affects the school. When it affects the school, it affects the community, and it keeps going and going. And that's what you want to do. You want to use the things that God bless you to do to change, not just the students, to change the school, not just the school, to change the community, and that has an impact on our community. I'm just blessed that God has, put me in this position that we can have a positive effect on these student athletes.
I was just to switch gears a little bit. I was more so curious about your time in the Army. I was going to ask how that was. Well, first, thank you for your service. Second, I was going to ask how that was, and third, I was going to ask, like, what did you take away from the Army, that you brought into coaching?
Right, the discipline.
Yeah. Yeah, we got it. I don't know what's up with this delay we have today. Did you hear his coach, or he froze down? Oh, he's there.
Y'all guys still there?
Yeah. Did you hear his question? Repeat the question, Devin.
I think he asked about my military.
Yeah.
And like, what did you take from that? Like, what did you bring from that into coaching?
He asked about my time in the military, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I was in the Navy, and I got in the Navy because I got in some trouble, and that was, my alternative. I put it that way. But got into the Navy, and it was the best thing I ever did for, in my life. The best thing. I saw the world. I really did see, like, I was Jerusalem and Africa, and when you see the world for what it is, you see life from a different perspective, because you see that we're all still the same. There's ghettos in France. Yeah. When we was in Spain, there was neighborhoods we couldn't go to that they call ghettos, and so when you think, I grew up in Brickyard, so I think that Brickyard is the only good in the whole world. That's my mindset. Right. It's like, but you see that it's like everywhere. But what I learned in the military was the discipline of following details and taking care of the little things, and the big things will follow if you take care of the little things.
All right. Well, we
can.
Again.
So I think it's our internet connection here that might be.
But anyway, yeah. So I think, that's a good lesson. I like how you said that. It's something in the connection. But yeah, I think those tools that opened your eyes to what was going on, I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think not that I've been to Jerusalem and all the places that he's been. I think in the little bit of traveling I've gotten it done, that's something that I've learned, that there's a lot of similarities between us all. Yeah. Like there is a hood everywhere. Like even in the middle of nowhere, upstate Pennsylvania. Yeah. There's one everywhere. Yeah.
But that was powerful that you said that, how that just kind of changed your perspective. Because I think a lot of young men that I deal with, like I meet with a group of young men in Norristown. That was part of the conversation we had today about your perspective. And so it's interesting how powerful that is, and we don't pay attention to that. So that was a good. So do you share those?
Yeah, man, it's powerful because you see how you'll see how poverty affects people in different countries. Don't just affect you because you're in North Philly, but it affects us all. Right. The same struggles that we have here in Philly, they was having them in Palma, Spain. The same stuff that we was going through here in Philly, they was having in Morocco. Right. And I've been to Honduras. It was very poverty stricken. So, but what I learned in the military is it raised me to be a man a little bit, and to follow detail, to be able to become you can't be a good leader unless you're a good follower.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to hone into my leadership skills. And then when I hit the fire department, I just, that same hustle mentality, it just went, and I was able to rise to the ranks, and God has blessed me to learn all that unless I went to the military.
Great. So I had a question kind of related back to kind of the mentorship side of football. Are there things that you do, I guess, off the field with the team, or is like you strictly kind of, again, keep the mentorship in between the lines? Crazy.
Well, Cheltenham, when I before I got to Cheltenham, I coached at Imhotep, and then I became the head coach of Delaware Valley Charter High School. Delaware Valley High School closed, and then I went from Delaware Charter Valley High School to Goretti for a year, and then was at Northeast for 2 or 3 years before I came to Cheltenham. But at Cheltenham, I would say this: before COVID, I'll take young, it was no problem for us to get on a plane and fly from Philly to Austin, Texas, and hit up the University of Texas, and hit up Texas A&M, and hit up SMU, and all those Baylor and San Antonio, all those colleges in Texas. And now I got 3 players playing in Texas. I got 2 players playing for Texas A&M.
Awesome.
Just because we got on a plane and went there. It's no problem for us to get on a plane and fly from Philly to Atlanta, hit up Georgia, and hit up Ole Miss, and hit up Alabama. And now I got a kid that just graduated from Bama that now plays for the Patriots. And a kid that I once coached that got ready at UMass. And, so as far as that, the all field thing is getting those kids on the road, getting them to in front of judges, and getting them dream of their lifetime, if that's a Division I scholarship or a Division II scholarship, where their parents ain't got to pay no money for them to go to college. That is the ultimate goal. So most of our off season is doing that. We didn't do it much last year because of COVID, but we're going to do it a lot this year, this upcoming 23.
And I think that is key and kind of a testament to what you were saying with your experience in the Navy and getting to travel and seeing other places. I think that certainly is important for the kids to kind of see the universities and see, I can potentially be here. They see themselves and feel themselves in that space. And it's not a lot, I don't know. I hope that more coaches are doing things like that. But again, watching from afar, I love to see it and hear it and inspired by that.
Yeah, because we were talking.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you can go ahead.
No, I was saying that kids live in a social media world, so their eyes is always on, their phones and computers, where where some of the realities of that doesn't seem real.
Right.
It's not intangible. They can't touch it. So you got to get them an opportunity to see it, and you got to see the eyes of young men when they get to a campus and they say, "Wow, I can be here," and they see the players there and they say, "Wow, I'm the same size as you. I can do what you can do." And then when they come back, I have no problem with grades for them. I have no problem with behavior.
Wow.
Because now it's hitting the goal.
It's real.
And they say, "I want it now, and I'm going to do everything that I need to do to get there." It's because it's really real.
Right.
It's not a cartoon. It's not on my cell phone. I actually was there. I actually shook that coach's hand that I see on Saturday nights and Saturday afternoons. I actually seen that player that I seen score touchdowns. He gave me gloves. He gave me a pair of his cleats. He told me to follow him on Instagram. And I'm actually talking to this dude.
Right.
And once these young men see that it's real, the whole perspective of being a student athlete changes. It changes. They don't want to lead the weight room. They're always in their grades and their books. And yes, coach, no coach. And that's the whole experience that you want to give them. You want to give them the whole experience.
Right.
And that's all a part of that industry thing of, of giving them, showing them the opportunities you have, and if you just put your mind to it, you can get it.
Yeah, but that's because of you too. Because I know as an inner city kid and growing up, and we all played sports, and growing up in North Philly, a lot of my friends thought that was the only way out. But we did have certain coaches that were more concerned about us becoming men. Being holistic human beings, so to speak. If you make it, you make it.
Right.
But if you do make it, you will be a person of character and integrity. So it was different, and that's what I see that's lacking now because
That's right.
I've had a coach tell me that that's the only way these guys are gonna go to college, and I was offended by that. I was offended, like, wait a minute. So everybody on the team is not going to college, so why are you selling that pipe dream? And it was all about football. It wasn't about development into better people. It was about football.
Right.
So in other words, as long as you get these grades on the football season, so you get eligible. So I applaud you for that because I think that is so rare these days, especially with AAU and basketball, all this other stuff that's about winning. I applaud you for that because the life lessons that I'm hearing you teaching them are indeed life lessons.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't make it in football, I'm going to be okay in the boardroom.
And I wanted to ask, do you have those tough conversations with the team, that not everyone may get that scholarship. Not everyone's going to go to the league, you may have to just kind of use this as an opportunity to further advance your life in any other type of way.
Yeah, I mean, and that is part of the trick also, because I won't call it negative.
Right.
I would say is a positive information. Now, a kid can go to a college and say, I thought I could play on this level, but wow, look how big they are. I can't play on this level.
Right.
Or, so now the mindset changes. Okay, all right, I see, I got confirmation that I'm just not picking up it's confirmation.
Right.
Now I can redirect my goals to another area.
Right.
And I'm cool with that. They're cool with okay, all right, yeah, coach, you took me to that camp. I thought I could. It's all right. And it is. I mean, I'll get a lineman that's maybe 5'11", 260, and says that I want to play division football. Then okay, let's go visit Villanova real quick. And go visit Villanova, and you see they linemen are all 6'3" or 6'4" and 6'5". And when you go up to meet people, they looking down at you, shaking their hand. So now you get the reality of oh, okay, I see.
It's real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they always do it for TV.
Right.
So now I get the reality check. So it's not a negative. It's just a positive affirmation. Okay, I can do it, or I can't do it. And both of them serves this purpose of picking them on a visit. See the reality. Right. And once you see the reality, something tell you it's fine, okay, I can't, okay, no problem. And do other things of doing character building and things of that nature. We teach them okay, you ain't gonna be a football player, be a businessman. Start your own business. Right. If you don't want to go to college, then learn a trade.
Right.
If you don't want to learn a trade, then you want to go to the military and have your college go there. But you gotta do something. And you gotta do something. Not just go graduate from high school and go live in mom and pop basement.
And you can still be competitive. And you can still be competitive those things.
We try to direct whatever the energy is. College ain't for everybody.
No, it's not.
And every family ain't.
But I think that's so key that you give them that.
I mean, I coached Nasir Yard. I coached him at LaSalle University. the Nasir Yard is the owner of Fresh Prince and Scheme Team. So every football team in the city of Philadelphia is wearing Scheme Team sweatsuits and all that.
Wow.
Nasir Yard didn't want to go to the NFL. He wanted to start his own business. So at a young age, he's been the CEO of his own business. Now has 2 stores. You know, I coached a young man who owns another young man right out of high school. He became a professional bodybuilder. And then from there, he has 3 gyms in Philadelphia.
Wow.
I also coached, I forgot the young man's name, but now he does music videos for rappers. And he now has movies that be on YouTube and all that stuff that's filmed in Philly. Okay. So Amir, his name is Amir. And he has movies that's on YouTube that's in Philly with actors and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, and so if you push them to whatever God has for them and not try to put your own bias and say, you need to go to college, you need to go to the military, you need this. No, wherever you want to do, I'm going to help you get there. But when you get there, that same hustle that we pushed you to do on that football field, you got to now do it in life. That same hustle. Get up before everybody and go to bed after everybody went to sleep early. And I mean, that Mamba mentality. You got to outbeat everybody. Yeah. And you got to be twice as short, and you got to do it. Because it's hard out here for black men to start their own business and the things of that nature. So you got to be, we ain't using that as no excuse, we ain't using that as no crutch. We're going to go get it, we're going to go take over, we're going to do what we got to do to make sure that your lifelong dream is accomplished. And if you ever need any help, here's my number, give me a call. Fire department's always on.
I feel like that energy that you have definitely shows in the team, man, because it starts from the top down. Like, again, from online, I can just see that the team buys into everything that you saying and that you put in front of them. But has it always been like that? Like, has there been any challenges for you, or has kind of everything that you've done just been like well received?
I mean, I can tell you Philly football is different from county football.
For sure.
Philly football, Philly football, those kids are kind of more hungrier. Mm-hmm. They're more challenging. They will challenge you sometimes because they play football through little league and things of that nature. Cheltenham doesn't have a little league program. They just have Eli and maybe Ivy Hill that's across the street. But we're the only county in Montgomery County doesn't have a feeder youth football program. So most of the kids I get started playing football either at Cedarbrook Middle School or at Cheltenham.
Wow. So
the intensity that you gotta push them to hit and do all the things you gotta do at a slower pace than you did in Philly. Right. Those kids in Philly, they've been doing this since they were 6 years old. So they can take the young. Matter of fact, if you ain't on them hard enough, they call you Turkey. You're a Turkey coach. So, but in Cheltenham, you gotta just, not all the players, but some of the players, you gotta go them through a whole process, and then eventually they buy into it. And but it was hard. I had a lot of kids quit. I had a lot of parents that wasn't used to it. I had to fight some big mountains at Cheltenham High School.
I thought you were about to say fight some
but
parents.
Now culture is setting in, and kids kind of see the expectation.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, culture is everything.
The culture is setting in, and kids see the expectation, and it's getting kind of.
Yeah, culture. It's funny because we're on this conversation, and that's, that's the thing everybody talks about Jalen Hurts about. Wow, he's almost cerebral and business-like about what he does. And he doesn't get too emotional. He's not freaking out when things go wrong, and and it's kind of odd because it's that
Right.
same thing that when it comes to us, people of color, they almost see it as a weakness until now. You know, you don't care. You know, you're not passionate enough. You know, you don't have a fire. It's all the things that you hear. You know, and it's so refreshing to hear that you're actually teaching these kids, man, to control their emotions. You're teaching them to keep that stuff in check. So I mean, I think I'll applaud you that, because even now when I hear people talk about Jalen Hurts,
Right.
it's almost the question mark is still there
Right.
because he's not, because he ain't flying all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good though.
Say something?
Go ahead. You want to say something, Coach? Yeah.
This
Right.
dude.
Yeah, it's like
As good as Jalen Hurts is, he still is critiqued.
Yeah.
No, he's not good enough, you know.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
It's like
Yeah.
going in and out.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Can you guys hear? I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we
yeah,
got
now
you.
we
Yeah,
can.
we
We
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you now.
Oh, yeah. What I was saying is that good as Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying as good as Jalen Hurts is, he still gets critiqued as not being good enough. I mean,
Yeah.
he's 10-1. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's leading the NFL like every category, and he still has to fight. Oh, he ain't got this, he ain't got that. That's the same. That's just part of being a black quarterback, you know.
But I think his ability to handle that is what sets him apart. Is that I think people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he has a strong will. I met the young man several times. You know, he did his camp at
Yeah,
Shelton
yeah,
High School.
Yeah, I heard
yeah,
about
I
that.
did see that. So could you talk about that
Yeah,
a
how
little bit?
that-
Like, how did you get that?
Finish what you're about to say. Yeah.
Well, the young the young brother that I mentored, that I coached at Loretti High School, he played at Alabama with Jalen Hurts
Oh.
Okay.
and Christian Barmore, and now he plays for the New England Patriots. He's from Philly.
Oh.
And
I know
him and Christian and Jalen have the same agent. Nicole Lynn with the LeBron James agency.
Okay.
So, and she's actually texting me right now because we got to set up a meeting. But through Nicole, she contacted me and said, "Yo, we need a place. Jalen wants to do a camp in the Philly area. We need a place." I said, "Ain't no better place than my place."
Yeah.
I like that.
You know, the school proved it, and it turned out to be excellent. But when you sit down and talk to Jalen, he's very down to earth, but he's also a strong-minded
Yeah.
young man. Like nothing phases him. Very, very in tune, very focused, very dialed in to whatever the mission is. Nothing can knock him off his stride. He's very dialed in. If you was to ever sit down with him and talk, maintains that eye contact, that firm handshake, and then everything is right, direct, and he's right to the point with it. All business. And then when you get him out of his business, and he's, that business character, I'm like, come on, man, it's me, coach. Then he's just a regular old young boy, man, and love him to death, man. But I'm proud, and I'm going to see and get that camp to come to us again next year, maybe to hear everything. Because I know a lot of other people are seeing what we did at Shelton, and he got a lot of other people in his ear now that might want to go to a bigger place that got turf and all that stuff,
So
it is what it is.
Is that something that was open to the city, or like just trying to figure out like how kids were able to get involved or join that type of camp?
Yeah, I think it was.
Bruce?
I didn't see it till afterwards. Yeah, I didn't see it till afterwards that he was there. Which was a good job. They did keep it in a secret.
That's what
Because
I'm saying.
I didn't hear anything
Camp
about
was
it.
to be a part of the camp. So I tried to keep it a secret, but I like to boast about what I'm doing at Shelton, what Shelton is doing for the community. So once they put it out, we put it out to the Shelton community. I put it out to the whole city of Philadelphia, and we were still able. We didn't turn no kids away.
Okay.
Baylor didn't turn no kids away, so everybody that signed up was still able to be a part of it.
Wow.
And it was just an awesome experience. And he was very in tune. He wasn't distant. He shook everybody's hand. He took pictures with all the parents.
Wow.
Just a great guy. Great guy.
Well, you can tell the way it conducts itself. And again, I'm more impressed that the one thing they say about us, and even I was watching in a Michael Vick interview, was how he had to learn as an adult. And he admired it about Jalen to remove the emotion from stuff. Because his emotions was causing him to do a lot of different things. And then he was saying he was amazed that when he met Jalen, he was talking to Jalen. This dude, sometimes he's like a robot. Not in a bad way, but he just says that. No, he has that laser focus. He says, he had laser focus. Like he said 6 o'clock in the morning, he's up doing film. After film, he's in the weight room. After the weight room, he's hanging out with the players. Then they're hanging out with the players. Then he's doing more film. He just has this whole routine that he never wavers from, and his demeanor never changes. You don't see him sad. You don't see him. And that's amazing to be that young. But I hear the same things that he talked about in his one-on-one interview that you're talking about teaching your boys, and I think that you can't buy that.
And I had another question here for you because you mentioned kind of the network that you have here.
That's.
No, go ahead, Coach.
It's such a delay. But
ahead.
I wanted to talk kind of about the network of kind of players that you have here.
No, you gotta go.
And kind of wanted you to speak to the importance of giving back. Is that something that you instilled in everyone just naturally to come back, or are guys just kind of taking it upon themselves to kind of lend their hands and provide, opportunities or experience for other guys? My phone is jumping.
Did you get that, Coach?
I think it was more on the players. I really believe it was more on the players. I got it. He asked me about the players giving back.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that was the question.
Cool. I think it was more on the players.
Mm-hmm.
The players really initiated that. I coached DJ Moore, who plays wide receiver for Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
I coached him at Imhotep. That was him and his mom.
That is insane.
Every time.
We talking about DJ Moore. I was about to say he was on my fantasy team one year, man. He balled
I got
out
him this year. I mean, it's not his fault. So.
Yeah, but I think that's dope also for players to kind of give back.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was something that, he kind of instilled in them, created this network like, hey, a couple years down.
But I think it's one of the things. I think it's one of the things that you learn by example. Because if somebody's treating you like that, somebody's just giving you and
you kind of want to pay it forward, give it back.
And I think for a lot of kids, like I go back to, I had this session today with the young guys, and we had some interesting conversation. I learned a lot, but that was one thing we were talking about, how, a lot of them, they have this sense of is them against adults.
Mm-hmm.
Until they meet somebody who shows them differently. So it's not like.
But you want to know why I asked that though too, because like a lot of times now too, you hear people that say like, you get out and you don't come back, right? So that's what was interesting to me to hear that they kind of have this network where they don't necessarily mind doing that, like just.
But if you don't meet somebody that shows you different,
mm-hmm.
you don't know any different. If you're around a bunch of people that tell you, because I know them too, I'm never coming back. And I run into some of them now, and they still talk about those people, the hood in a negative way. But you meet people who've met people who've embraced them, who shared with them, who didn't necessarily do this, but they just cared about it. Somebody came along and said, okay, well, I'm gonna give back to you, not because I have to, because I want to. And that can become contagious.
But did you personally ever feel like that? Like, I'm just never going back. Like, did that ever cross your mind at all?
Oh man, growing up in the hood when I was young, every day. Every day I was like, yo, I can't wait to get out of here, man. And I did. Every day I kept saying, I can't wait to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you grow up, as you start to get older, man, you start to recognize all the stuff that was going on,
Right.
Yeah, all the stuff that was going on, man, and you see it on a daily basis. No, just it. Yeah, you see all the things that's going on. You say, man, I don't want to be a part of this, man. You see the crime, the murder. Some of your friends get hurt. I can't wait to get out.
And that's why, but that's why I
can't
asked the question of like, what makes you give or come back when it's like
coaches.
Sometimes you had the childhood of like, I'm gone.
But I had coaches who volunteered. I had coaches who volunteered to coach. Who went in their pocket to make sure we had certain things. Who led by example. Didn't tell us to do it, but I had coaches who you saw them do it, and you saw the results of them doing it because you saw some of your friends, the light bulb starts to come on. When you see this dude who is going down the tubes fast, and all of a sudden a light bulb comes on because he can catch and throw a football or hit a baseball, and you see it's because somebody volunteered their time, you can't help but take notice. And I think you see the difference in professional athletes. Like a lot of professional athletes who are like that, they always tell you, I went here, I went to this camp, or like Michael Vick was talking about Andy Reid, the people he encountered as an adult who changed his life because they didn't tell him to do it, but they modeled it in front of him. You back with us, Tony? I mean, back with us, Troy? I see you. But so I think that's key, man. You just gotta model it, man. And some people get it and some people don't.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah. And before you drop,
Is that my guy?
No, I think that's on our end. That's not you. This on our end. We never had the problem before, but I think it's on us.
Yeah.
That's not you.
But like part of my question before we got disconnected was the reason I was asking about, guys coming back and giving, or if that was something that you instilled.
Next time I gotta come in there.
We just talked about it a little bit, but
yeah, I'm glad you said that because we got to do a part two. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But I was asking, do guys come and give back because you tell them to? Because most of the time, like we said, if you come from a rough place, sometimes you just want to get away. Like you think you get yours and get gone. Like people tell you to get out. Yeah. So it's like that's why I was asking and inquiring. Is that something that you instilled? But it's good to hear that guys come back. I don't know if you could share the DJ Moore story with us. That's kind of how you got disconnected.
Yeah, we lost you in the DJ Moore story. If you can finish that one for
us. Like I was using DJ Moore as an example because he comes back to Philly and to Carolina and gives back. I coached DJ in high school, and I never had a conversation of you got to give back. So I would honestly say that these young men didn't know. I know the coaches at Emotep, one of the coaches at he does this event where he brings back all the Philly NFL players, and they do one big camp. I'm talking about Kyle Pitts, Jahai Ward, Christian Ballmore, DeAndre Swift, all the kids that play in the that's from the Philly area, they all come back and do one camp. I know he was the coach. CY was the starter of that.
Okay.
But most of these young men, when they get to that level, they want to come back, and because they see what's going on in our city, and they just want to give back and come back and give opportunities to other kids and let them know that they can make it too. They do it on their own.
Awesome. Definitely happy to have you kind of speak to that here because you don't hear that often when it comes to professional athletes and people that look like us. Like you always kind of in the news, you hear all the bad or negative things that we do. So it's kind of good. I'm glad that you got to speak to guys coming together from this city, coming back and doing something positive. I know we only got a couple minutes left here. So if you could probably share or give maybe some closing thoughts, inspirational words for our followers and listeners out here.
We definitely got to get them in here, man.
Yeah, because
I got some fire.
I would just say, man, always dream big. Don't. Okay. If I was just tell everybody, man, always dream big, man, and never give up on none of these, none of our young men in these streets. Don't give up on them. They're traumatized. They're afraid. And how they react to being traumatized and afraid is the last shot to do dumb things. Use what you got to motivate that young man to be his very best, whether it's football, basketball, whether it's entrepreneurship, anything. Use what you got to talk to that young man and just motivate them to be their best. And don't think that because they live in Shelton, they're not touched by the violence in Philly. They got cousins over there. They watch the news. They got friends over there, and they're traumatized also. So just be a motivator, be an inspiration to them, and just push them to be their very best, and you'll see the change in them. And that can eventually change that young man. We can eventually change a school, and can eventually change a community. And that's what we need to do. We need to be community changers. I appreciate you guys having me on. We got to do this again.
Yes.
You tell me when you can make it.
Just talk, and I want to bring some of my young men on too.
Yeah.
So they can give you. Hi.
Yeah, just let us know when you can make it on a Wednesday, and we'll set it up.
Yeah, I want to bring some of my young men on so they can give you.
We do a show
Okay,
from
that's
Shelton?
awesome. That's awesome. I'll be in touch.
I would say it'd be awesome if we
I'll
could
be
do
in
a show
touch.
from Shelton.
That would be real great.
I know Dr. Scriven personally, so I'm about to give him a
I
call.
think the Doc probably would know more people. Yeah, I think he can set that up better than I can.
Well, Chris played with Pat. They
So that
played
would be
basketball.
awesome, man.
Chris and Pat were on the same basketball team. Pat Flurry. Yeah, they went to high school together. And
He goes. So Pat, man, doing a phenomenal job.
Yes.
New AD, head basketball coach.
Hold it down.
Busiest man in Shelton here
Yep,
right now, man, doing this thing, man. So proud of that young man. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
Proud of what he's doing. And yeah, you talk to Pat, man. Pat will make that thing work, man. We go sit in that small theater and get it done.
Yeah, we might
And maybe have some kind of community forum where all the the young men that's in that school.
I like that.
And have some kind of community forum where we try to see what they need from us,
Yeah.
And see if we can use that to change some things.
Yeah.
I
I love that approach too. Is in terms of seeing what they need from us and not coming at them like sit down, take this. So
we're gonna start. I'm gonna reach out to Pat tomorrow. We're gonna start working on this because I know Dr. Scriven too. I know Dr. Scriven too, man. So we gotta make this happen, man. That was a great idea. Yeah.
So Coach Troy, we definitely appreciate having you on, and like you said, can't wait to do this again in person and get to talk to some of the young men. So thank you for again your time and sharing your stories. I'm sure we'll have plenty more when we get together. So appreciate it, Deb. You want to go ahead and hit your lines here?
Like, follow, subscribe, share, comment. Interact with us, all that good stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Spread the word.
Thank you again, Coach Troy. Good night, everybody. Till next time.
Peace. Thanks, fellas.
And that one for me, Devin.